Hello everyone, I am the Gaming Motion TGM, and it's been 6 years since the last time I created my YouTube channel, so it's a sixth birthday. Of course, don't forget, March 19th. Now let's get back to the stuff I was going to talk about. It's about my laptop. Yes, my current laptop I'm using right now. It has been a solid 5 years of experience with me. So this stuff I use for editing, for class, and even for making assignments that I don't know if I can collect it in time. I'm more of a deadliner person, and I shouldn't do that for long term, otherwise I'm going to be sorry. So for this replacement stuff, I was thinking of searching something else other than HP brand, because my laptop is HP, and it's a good deal when you can get an a Core i5 or for around 300 US dollars. But I didn't buy it with US dollars, okay? I bought it with Indonesian rupiah. So, what caught my eye is the Lenovo brand, because I watched some other review videos, and there's going to be some biasness from myself that I think the Lenovo one is worth looking for. So after comparing some stuffs in the 2021 and the 2022, I fall short on the 2022. First of all, my own personal opinion would be that the hinge problem might have been solved. But I couldn't say that for sure because this laptop has been new on the market and not many people that I know in the Discord server of Lenovo owns this laptop. They mostly own the last year's generation, the Gen 6, I think. And for some people that I've seen on Reddit, they have this notorious problem of hinge problem. Yes, the hinge crack, and there is the backlight bleed, which I have also seen on the 2021 and some video of reviewing the 2022 version that still has the backlight bleed. But other than that, I think it's quite good. So without further ado, I would like to continue my reaction by watching this next video about a review update. I haven't seen this before, okay? So let's go.
Of my Legion 5i Pro review. This is the 12th gen Intel with the 3070 Ti. I'm just going to explain briefly in case you haven't seen the last video. I originally ordered this machine on the left, and I'll leave the lights on this one so you can always remember this is the older one. It rattled on the table because the chassis was a bit warped, had a rattling trackpad. Oh, that sounds horrible. It sounds kind of springy. And it had quite pretty bad backlight bleeding. The fans were always on. So I thought, okay, this can't be like this. So I ordered another one, and I'll tell you how much of the quality control issues were there when I ordered the other one. Let's just start off, just because a few people said to me that I should have been getting better performance than I was getting. So let's just start off by running a Geekbench 5 test here. Now, I will say one thing. I ran Cinebench R23 numerous times, and the results I would get on this laptop would vary drastically. I'd run the test, I'd get 12,000 in the 12,000 to 13,000 region. I'd run the test again, and I'd get over 18,000 Cinebench result. Then I'd run the test again and I'd get 15,000. So the results from the test seem to kind of be all over the place. I even tried doing a fresh install of the operating system and putting nothing on there apart from Cinebench to see if this would resolve the issue. It did not. In terms of the screen's backlight bleed, they both seem to have these little areas on the very bottom of the screen where there's a little round dot where there's quite a lot of light coming from that one particular section. In day-to-day use, a lot of stuff on this laptop is going to have borders because this is a 16 by 10 screen. So the problem you have there is everything has borders. You do tend to get in media consumption a lot of black bars at the top and bottom, and it's just a bit annoying when they have that light bleed at the bottom. And here we go again with the inconsistent results. It's now coming on Geekbench as well. If we take a look here, we're getting 9,623 and 11,697 on the replacement unit, which is pretty odd because when I ran all my tests last night, the replacement unit was getting lower CPU scores but higher GPU scores. In Tomb Raider, for example, it was getting around 164 frames per second, whereas this was getting around 157. We'll have a look at it again just to make sure. But this is what I mean. This is, if anyone can put up a theory and explain why they think this is happening, I would love to know. In terms of battery life, it's not great. I managed to get an hour and 40 minutes of simply web browsing. I wasn't even editing, wasn't attempting gaming. I literally spent an hour and 40 minutes web browsing. I wasn't even watching YouTube videos. I was literally reading text and sending emails. And by the 2 hours and 1 minute mark, it had completely died. For those editors out there, editing is okay as long as you don't add any, even like adding text and stuff. When on battery does kind of slow things down a little bit. It's just a shame because I'm so used to Apple's, never having to worry about being on battery. Whereas with this, if I was going to do any serious editing and I was going to go to a coffee shop, I have to be near a PowerPoint. Otherwise, A, I'll be out of juice pretty quick if I was doing something as strenuous as editing. And B, I'm pretty sure that the performance would take quite a drastic hit. I actually have enjoyed the keyboard much more than I thought I would. This key has popped off.
From the looks of it, I think I need to be careful, pay attention on my battery life. For the other problems, I'm not really an expert, but I can tell you that the gaming laptops, any gaming laptops, they will have some problems when it comes on battery. It drains too fast because, this is not like my current laptop with Intel with the U suffix, which has a low power mode, so it conserves more battery, and I can take it anywhere I want. But I'm stuck here because of the pandemic. I can't really go anywhere too much. Meanwhile, for the performance-hungry laptop, it is an obvious thing, and I don't see why the battery drains so fast. Maybe next year's gen, or the next year, or I don't know how many years more, is going to be a bit better. Maybe slightly or more, but who knows?
Off twice, so I am actually asking them to repair this. In terms of, this is just answering some questions that people have had in the comments. In terms of the actual keyboard flex, I mean, if you look at when I press the number 4, I'm not even pressing it very hard. If you look at the number 7 above, when I press number 4, number 7 goes down. The numlock key above that goes down a little bit. So it's not the best. It's got quite a lot of keyboard flex, and when you press one key, the keys around it seem to go down a little bit. But in everyday use, I don't really care about that, and I actually enjoy the key travel on this, and I'm very surprised at how much I've actually enjoyed using this keyboard. Trackpad. So the other trackpad had a rattle. I showed it to you. All of them seem to have a rattle from here to the right. So that makes me think that it's more just how they're built and what you should expect. I have put in a 4 terabyte SSD in the second slot and it's working fine, even though the website says 2 terabytes max. 4 terabytes working fine. I'm going to get into the laptop. I will say one thing though. It is not as easy as I potentially would have made it sound in the last one. If we just take a look at the side, getting a pick once you get to this stage of the laptop, it makes it pretty difficult to get a pick in between that area. And you do need to use a pick. You can't use your nails. And please don't use a screwdriver. You'll just end up damaging it. But you're inside this thing. You have your DDR5 RAM. You have your second SSD bay right over here. And it even comes with thermal pad pre-applied, which is good. I have put in this SSD, which is 4 terabytes, and it's working just fine. Now, one of the things I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try.
Okay. Not much has changed for the disassembly part, which means I can do it easier, I think, because I have disassembled my laptop before. But you know, I don't know how thin this laptop is. And for the next generation, the 2023 one maybe, how thin will it be? I don't know, but maybe only a bit of a difference. But I mean, like, it's so thin. Like that guy over there in that video, he's not even trying to click something hard, but instead it rattles. Now let's see what's next. Okay.
And address one of the issues I had with this. That's the size of this absolutely monstrous power brick. Now, this is the power brick for the 16-inch M1 MacBook Pros. So I'm going to try the test with that and with that using USB-C power and have a look and see if I can get anywhere as close in terms of results, because this does accept USB-C power. Okay, now off the bat, I will say, disappointingly, but also expectedly, I am unable to put this in turbo mode. I can only put silent mode or auto mode. Yesterday we managed to get 82 frames per second, so let's see what we can get today if we go and do a test. As you can probably see, this is really stuttery. I'm using the 140 watt USB-C adapter, and I was really hoping that it would at least give me some of the performance that I got, but I'm averaging 12 frames per second, whereas yesterday I was averaging 82. So if you are going to play games, unfortunately, it is the big, huge brick. You cannot use Dell's adapter or Apple's adapter. I tried them both and I'm getting similar results. You can't even put the laptop in turbo mode when you're using an adapter that's not the 300 watt adapter. I know a lot of people said in the comments it needs a 300 watt adapter to feed the graphics card. I understand that. The only reason I'm saying I was disappointed that the adapter was so big is because they had said previously that they had addressed some of those concerns and the new adapter was going to be redesigned, which I assume meant smaller. It doesn't look like it's redesigned because it looks like the exact same adapter and it's certainly not smaller. It's a shame, but you can probably get away with using that adapter, Apple adapter, if you're just web browsing or using Office programs. But if you're going to do anything graphic intensive, unfortunately, you do have to carry around the big adapter with you. As expected, the CPU scores have also dropped to under half when switching from the 300-watt power brick that comes with it to an Apple power brick. And as I said, the Dell one got actually slightly worse results. So I would say if you want to use a USB-C power brick for doing anything more than charging it while the machine is turned off, your best bet is to only use it if you're going to be browsing the web or using Microsoft Office or things of that nature. If you're doing anything that's CPU or GPU intensive, don't. It's essentially the moral of the story here, just don't. If you're doing something that's semi-intensive and the fans aren't kicking in, you're going to have to put up with that. And that's pretty, as far as core whine goes, that's probably the worst that I've experienced myself. But there are a lot of positives, I have to say. The CPU and the GPU results can hit heights which, in this price bracket, for me at least, I have not been able to get. I have ultimately decided to return the replacement unit I received. And the reason for this is because it started doing something over the last 24 hours where the coil whine could be heard even above the fans. Now, I know someone said that their fans were always dead silent. In both these units, their fans were, even in silent mode, the fans were consistently on. But the coil whine on this newer one that I ordered is very audible, and it kind of gets on my nerves. I really don't like the sound of coil whine, especially when it's audible from just a normal distance of where you'd work. No laptop is perfect. That's one important thing to remember. The Dell XPS 17, I purchased that and it costs over £1,000 more than this and only has the 3060 graphics card and the 11th gen. And even that had its own set of problems. The fans on that were silent almost all the time, which was a great thing. But then again, it was also heavier. The battery life wasn't great for the size of the laptop. And you'd have to revert back to dongle life since it only had USB-C ports. So there was that as well. So no laptop is perfect. But for me, this, at this price point, can't be beaten. It's got a 3070 Ti, it's got the 12th gen Intel graphics card. I wish I would have chosen the 32 gigabytes DDR5 RAM, just because it is going to be considerably more expensive to upgrade it afterwards, since the price of DDR5 RAM is so expensive at the moment. I mean, it's in the UK, it's 2.5 times, almost 3 times the price of DDR4 RAM. I do love this laptop. It can play any game I throw at it. It can play Cyberpunk on ultra settings and get over 50 frames per second, which on the actual highest ultra settings with ray tracing turned on, this is a great laptop. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the keyboard more than I thought I would. The only thing that I would say is if you get one with coil whine and that bothers you, give it back. If the rattly trackpad bothers you, that's something to keep in mind. With me, the rattling trackpad isn't that big of an issue because I mainly use a external keyboard and mouse anyway and just have this up on a laptop stand when I'm using it. For the first time, there's a laptop that's convinced me to leave my MacBook Pro and switch to this. Now, I'm leaving my MacBook Pro, and my MacBook Pro, just for the record, costs £3,800. So this is over £2,000 less. And when using DaVinci Resolve, I don't notice any difference. When web browsing, I don't notice any difference. For me, the fact that I can now game as well, it's great. I do miss the build design a little bit, but having normal USB ports back, not having to carry around a dongle anymore. The only thing it's missing that I truly wish it wasn't missing is an SD card reader. That's the only big letdown for me as a content creator. But overall, I mean, it's got Thunderbolt 4, it's got 2 SSD slots. To upgrade the SSD from MacBook Pro to the 5 terabytes I've now got in this would have cost thousands. Like literally, it costs over £1,000 to do that. So I'm really, really happy with this. The only thing I would say, to put your mind at ease, pay the extra £50, £60 and get the 3-year next day repair warranty. That way, if anything happens, they'll be at your house the next day and they'll repair it. Thank you for watching and have a good rest of your
So in conclusion, this laptop is really good if you ignore the small details of flaws, like the rattle and the backlight bleed. I don't really mind that, so yes, it could work. I mean, you get this good performance for a price that is less than a MacBook. Speaking of MacBook, Razer has something similar of a price of a MacBook, yet doesn't deliver a, a really good performance, which makes Razer the Windows version of MacBook. But because this laptop is really good, I might considering on keep keep trying to find more information about it, or I could wait for the next Legion 7. No one really knows when it will come out. Maybe April or May. I'm betting it will be on May because they have made a Q&A session in Reddit and people were giving suggestions that could improve the Legion 7 2022 or even both Legion 5 and 7 2023 models next year. But one of the letdown for me is the lack of the SD card. I mean, like, my HP laptop here has an HD card. And this is very useful if you are doing some photography. So I have one class last semester, a few months ago, which involves taking a picture using a camera. You can't use a smartphone camera. That would ruin the purpose. And when I was using my Nikon camera, you need an SSD, of course, for storing the images that you have taken. And with this SD card slot over here, down in my laptop, it allows me to get easier access on the pictures I took. For example, taking pictures of the moon. So I don't even have to start on the camera and look at the pictures. So with this SD card slot, I can see my pictures on a much bigger screen. And to repeat what I have said, if you can ignore small details, the small flaws in this laptop, then this laptop is worth buying. Okay, that's all I can pretty much say right now. And oh yes, I did give the video a like button. It allows me to save the videos because if I try to save using the real save button over there in the very right, it's limited. I mean, YouTube limits how much you can save a video. So if I like a video, it will stay at a max of 5,000 likes. I mean, the total videos of that is stored, that how much I like the video. But I can pretty much click the like button infinitely, as much as I want, because the save button limits how much you can keep saving a video to watch later. Anyway, this has been a day, and as for my time zone, March 19 is nearly over, 50 minutes towards the 20th of March. I have to end this video right now. Thank you everyone, and have a good day. Maybe I can upload more videos about SpongeBob uncanny or canny or something that is quite a variation of Mr. Incredible. I don't know if that meme is still popular, but that meme so far had made me gain a good couple of thousand views and likes. Okay, you can go now, everyone.